Hello and welcome. We're continuing with our exponential function. I hope you guys are doing well out there. In this video, we want to look at the following example. It says that determine the value of b and q. Determine the value of b and q if the equation of the given graph is g of x is equal to minus b to the power of x plus q. This is the general form of the equation. Okay, we are given it, but we need to find what b is and what q is. And this is the graph that goes together with the expression. So this graph here is obviously an exponential. So for our exponential is equal to y is equal to, okay, so that's our exponential. Y is equal to 2 to the power of x. Okay, we're dealing with exponents, powers. Now, solution, we want to find what b is, we want to find what q is in this given here expression. So we want to write what them in numbers using our graph, using the information that we're going to collect from this graph here. How do we go about that? First things first is our asymptote. What is our asymptote here? Our asymptote is 3. Y is equal to 3. It is this line here, what I always say, the line where this graph approaches but never touches. So our asymptote is 3. What do we do with the asymptote? We are going to take our asymptote value and place it into our function. So our function is g of x is equal to minus b. Let me write g of x is equal to minus b to the power of x plus q. I'm going to take this value here, 3, and replace it into our asymptote. So before there, once again, I'm going to express this one as a y. So that's y, because this one is the same thing as a y. Y is equal to minus b to the power of x. And now let's come to the asymptote, where we said our asymptote is a 3. So we now have the expression y is equal to minus b to the power of x plus 3. Okay, now since we're being asked to determine what b is, our b is, some of you already know what our q is already. Our q is 3. But let's move on to next to find what our b is, or how we can find the value of b. So, like, first things first, we look at the asymptote. We're done with that, and then we look at the point. Do we have any point that is given on this graph? Where this graph cuts the axis, or yes, we do have a point here. This point here, we need to find the coordinates of this point. So this point says that the negative, along the x-axis we have a -1, and the y-axis is 0. So we have a point minus 1 and 0. So we substitute point -1 and 0 into our equation. We substitute point -1 and 0, which is that point, into our equation. So let's do that. Our point here, this is minus x. That's the value of x, and this is the value of y. So taking these points into our equation, we're going to say where there is a y, we put our 0 here. So we have 0 equals minus b to the power of x. What is our x when we look at these coordinates? What is our x? Our x is -1. So we have -1, and then we'll go ahead to say plus 3. Right. Now I can express this one as 0 is equal to minus. An expression with to the power of -1 is the same as 1 over b, like this. I can put brackets or remove brackets, all the same, plus 3. So I'm going to take this 3 to the other side of the equation. I have minus 3 is equal to minus 1 over b. And at this stage, there's a negative. It means that 3 is equal to 1 over b. Now, how do I make b the subject of the formula? I can multiply by b here, and multiply by b here. This means that 3b, 3 times b is 3b, is equal to this b and this b will cancel, and I remain with the 1. What am I looking for? I'm looking for b. So it means I'm going to divide by 3, divide by 3. So when I do that, I'll have b is equal to 1 over 3. So now this brings us to basically to the end of this problem, where we are, because we are asked to find the value of b, which is a third, and q, we already find what q is. q is equal to 3. But we wouldn't say it's completely finished. Let's resubstitute these values into our equation, where we say this one we can call it a y is equal to minus b. What is b? We said that our b is here, it's a third. Obviously, it's to the power of x plus q. So it's plus, what is q? Our q is 3. This is basically, this is the final, this is the equation that we actually found. Firstly, we were asked to find the values of b, which we did find, and then the values of q, which we did find, and then we take those values and substitute into the general form, and we now have found the equation for this exponential graph. That is all we have. We can even go further to say f of gx. Some you can just say gx here, because they said, but it is basically one and the same thing, to the power of x plus 3. That's all, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Once again, do not forget to subscribe. If you find any of this information helping you in any way, please show us some love. See you in the next. Stay tuned.